The purpose of life is to release. That's what Scorpio's here to learn, although few of them actually learn that lesson. But they're the first spiritual zodiac sign, so when Scorpio comes in, they're taught transformation, and the message underneath that, because Pluto is a planet of transformation, right? Birth and death, death and rebirth. That's why I talk a lot about Scorpio, because so many of them are lost. I can honestly say, both as a therapist, because I worked as a therapist before becoming an astrologer, and as an astrologer, I have met a handful of Scorpios that I would say were like healed and balanced people. Many Scorpios are just not engaging with their spiritual labor. Even though that's why they were sent here, they get here and they get really lost in their desires, their passions, and their egoic way of experiencing life. And they let their root chakra basically dictate everything in their life, even though they were here to be the very first spiritual zodiac sign. And God is so generous that Scorpios already get the blueprint before Aquarius, which is that to elevate, to manifest, you have to let go. You have to release. But Scorpios don't want to release. They don't want to let go. They want to hold on to everything and still get everything more. And they wonder why they're so miserable. But they're creating their own misery, except they do not want to take responsibility for it. If you try to tell a Scorpio that they brought something onto themselves, watch the rage. Just watch the rage. If you try to hold them accountable for anything that they've done that's creating any harm in their life, just watch them. The kind of wrath that they're going to ensue from that simple conversation, meanwhile, it's just words, right? Nothing has happened to them. You're just trying to open their mind to a new reality, but they're so deeply lost in their own negative emotion and negativity in general that they have no desire whatsoever to engage with you on an intellectual level about what might be going on with them. What Aquarius knows is that we have feelings. It's true. All of us are feelings people. All of us have emotions. But people who succeed in life are not people who do everything that feels right. In fact, I would argue that successful people are people that have gotten very, very good at being uncomfortable, because there are people that are constantly doing things that make them feel deeply uncomfortable. As an example, when I started making videos, I just started it on a whim. I'd just been diagnosed with a chronic disease. My life had been thrown upside down. And this was really an avenue for me to talk about some of the negative emotions I was experiencing without actually talking about my disease, right? So I would make very snarky videos about astrology, and people really liked it because I was being very sarcastic, which I am by nature. But it's because I was in a lot of pain. So the energy behind what I was talking about was fairly critical, negative, and that's kind of where it was, and people liked it, and here we are now. Even my success on this platform has come from me not being afraid of being considered kooky, because I'm someone that was trained in the medical model of understanding human behavior. I'm someone who has both a bachelor's degrees and a master's in understanding human behavior, clinical diagnosis, all of that, and who has done assessments on people. So I know that people who knew my background will think, this is weird. This is bizarre. She's lost her marbles. She's lost her mind. What is she doing? What is she talking about astrology? There's no science in astrology because I come from a science-based background. But that's something I was willing to risk. I was willing to risk being perceived as somebody that was kooky, cuckoo, whatever you want to call it, nutty, weird, whatever you want to throw on it. It didn't matter to me ultimately. What mattered to me was finding something that brought me joy and using it to connect with other people. And that's how I got here. I say that to say Scorpios are very good at manifesting when they're in their zone, because when they're in their zone, whenever spirit tells them, this is not good, they let it go. They don't argue, they don't fight, they let it go. The most Scorpios that I have met, out of all the humans I've ever met, and mind you, I've lived in separate continents, I've lived in different continents, I've traveled the world, I'm an international girl. I can tell you 100%, out of all the Scorpios I've ever met, I can count on one hand how many I could say were balanced. They don't want to let go. They don't want to deal with their separation anxiety. They don't want to deal with their control. They don't want to deal with their manipulation. They don't want to deal with their trickery, with their shadows. They don't want to do any of it. They don't want any of it. But they want the benefits. They want the blessings. They want the manifestations. They just don't want to work for it. And they'll never admit it, but it's true. So by the time a Scorpio becomes an Aquarius, they understand nothing lasts forever. This is why Aquarius doesn't really care about much. When you go to break up with them, they're like, okay, bye. It's been nice. I wish you the best. And then move on. Because Aquarius knows it wasn't supposed to last forever anyways. Because nothing and nobody lasts forever. Why would you expect forever from a place that is all about change? Look around you. Can you name one thing that lasts forever on Earth? Because if you can, I would love to hear about it. What is it? Tell me. Because even the asteroids aren't in the same position. Did you know that? So what lasts forever? So why do you think your little feelings are going to last forever? What's that about? Oh, you think that you're more special than all the other humans and all of nature. Because literally nothing in nature stays the same either. If you were to plant a tree today and you disappeared and you came back 5 years from now, that tree would be much bigger. So there's nothing in nature that indicates that this theory that you have about everything lasting forever is rooted in anything meaningful. But Scorpio still wants to hold on to it. It's Rose said that's why we ghost people. Yeah, because as an Aquarian, I know I come into your life at a time when you need something specific. That's why I come into your life. And when that thing that you needed, I've given to you, I move on because I'm only here to serve you. Aquarius is a service person. I come to bring you something, information. So we meet, I give you the information, and we go our separate ways. You don't hold on to me, I don't hold on to you. But here's a trick. I have no desire to hold on to you. But what's annoying for me as an Aquarius rising, and you may relate to this if you have Aquarius, Sun, Moon, and Rising, is how obsessed people are with controlling us. It's very fascinating to me because as an Aquarius rising, I don't care to control anybody. I don't care to dominate anybody. You know, I don't have any such desires. I just want the space to be me and do my things, my way. But people are so obsessed with controlling and dominating us. People are so obsessed. And they're getting to these secret competitions with us for no reason. And that needs to be studied. Because the zodiac sign that cares the least is the one that other people want to dominate. It's like, do you know who you're dealing with? I am an ice queen. Hello? When I don't care, I don't even know how to pretend. Even if I wanted to pretend, I don't know how. So what makes you think I'm gonna let you, mere mortal, try to push your agenda onto me and cause me to suppress my own life's purpose in the process? Why would I want to do that? That makes no sense. Albaneri said, my dream is to find a therapist who's well versed in astrology. They are out there. I purposely left the field of therapy as to not create any confusion, with my clients about the services that I provide. So I provide coaching services that are rooted in astrology, but I am no longer providing therapy. Therapy requires diagnosing you. Therapy requires coming up with a treatment plan. I am no longer providing diagnoses or treatment plans. So that's basically the difference between what I do now and before. I still have a coaching plan, but it's obviously not rooted in disease. With therapy, everything is around the disease and how the disease is conceptualized, so we come up with the interventions based on the presentation of the disease. With coaching, it's less about the disease and more about the motivation and the purpose and the goal. So very different. Liz says, Scorpio are not balanced, extremely intuitive. Yes, all Scorpios are extremely intuitive, all of them. And yes, that's why I talk a lot about Scorpio, and I'm going to continue doing it because we need to raise the vibration on Earth, and that's not going to happen until both Scorpio and Virgo get it together, because in America, the number 1 and number 2 most overly represented zodiac signs are Virgos and Scorpios. And back to my example about Scorpios, I have yet to meet Virgos that are also balanced. I can count on one hand how many I've met that I thought, this is a balanced, pleasant, transparent person. Like, what you see is what you get. Nope. The ones that I have had the pleasure of meeting with regards to Virgo are very performative. These are people that don't like who they are and like to suppress their real feelings and then end up acting out in very unhealthy ways because they've been biting their tongue for too long. So by the time it comes out in very erratic ways. And there's a lot of self-hatred there that I just don't have the energy for, because this is something a therapist should be working with you on, and I don't know why you're bringing that into our work relationship or friendship, or this is not my job. So those two signs I have found are the most difficult, the most unhealthy. So it makes sense that many of the people here in the US are Virgos and Scorpios, because look at how we are here. Husband has Scorpio moon and he acts like that. Oh my God, Scorpio moon is such a difficult placement because they're both needy and demanding and bossy and controlling and non-trusting and paranoid and also emotionally closed off. So what they want to do is misbehave or maybe act out their insecurities and their fears, but they don't actually want to own that they have any, nor do they want to engage you in an adult conversation about them, so you as a lover of them can help them, handle that better, or can help them feel more supported. You know what I mean? It's not like Cancer, where if a Scorpio is feeling insecure, they can come to you and be like, man, that made me feel so insecure. I was just so overwhelmed by all of it. I didn't even know what to do. And then the person that loves Cancer can be like, oh my God, I can't believe you felt that way. Or, oh my God, I totally felt the same way. And this is what I would have done, or blah, blah, blah. And then Cancer feels better, and not Scorpio. No, they're not inviting you to that party. They're just going to keep it all in their head. But the problem is they still want to act it out, and they want you to just be okay, receiving all of these negative emotions without you knowing where it's coming from why it's here and what we can do to make it better, which is totally unfair. But they don't see it that way because they're so wrapped up in their own reality that they don't really care enough to see what's going on with you and how you're interpreting all that's coming your way. That's been my experience. So someone says, Scorpio sun, if I bring my torture is to myself. Yes, exactly. Scorpio doesn't want to open up about their suffering, but they still want to dump all of the side effects of their suffering onto you if you love them. And they also want you to just take it without complaining. And if you can't take it, then they judge you for being weak and not being strong enough to handle them at their worst, but they don't want to talk to you about what's actually going on. Anyone who's a Scorpio sun, moon, or rising, tell me what you think about what I described. Let me see. As a Scorpio sun and stellium and Virgo rising, I'm listening. Hi, Tanisha. It's so nice to see you on here. Facts, quitting as well is what Mickey said. Scorpio rising, Aquarius moon, and Leo sun. As a full moon baby, polarity is a key aspect of my life. I can't help but reference astrology. I'm trying to understand ADHD more through the lens of astrology. ADHD is giving mutable zodiac signs. So yeah, that's pretty much it, you know, in terms of Scorpio. I really want Scorpio to evolve, you know? I want them to grow. Because the thing is, to me, it's almost like, even though Scorpio is very strong, when they do those kinds of things, it's almost like they don't trust themselves. They don't, oh, thank you for saying I'm always spot on. It's almost like they don't trust themselves. And I know Scorpio is like, I don't know. It's like, you guys are like some of the strongest people, but you act like you aren't. Because how can you be afraid of feelings and still tell me that you're a strong person? It's just feelings, and these are simply just words. Grateful said, I don't open up all the way because I'm a seer for others, but don't have a seer. Denisha said, ooh, trusting myself is so difficult. Okay. So for you, grateful is that you see yourself as being of service to others. So naturally, that puts you in a position where you're now seeking someone else to do that same thing for you. I think the problem with that, like seeing yourself as being of service to others, is that you're missing your calling, because Scorpio's true calling is to be of service to themselves. Scorpio is here to be a healer of themselves. That's your life's purpose. That's why your ancestors chose you for that job, because when you heal yourself, you heal your DNA. So then you heal everybody that comes from your body and everybody that is connected with your body. So the healing work that Scorpio is here to do is less about naming other people's issues, which Scorpio loves to do that with Virgo. Those two really love like pointing the finger and looking over there, like, look at them over there and the things they're doing that are not good things. Those two are experts at that. Diagnosing other people, name calling people, telling other people what's wrong with them. Chef's kiss. They don't miss a thing. But then when it's time to actually pick up that mirror and go, okay, now let's see. What's going on here? What's going on with me? Why do I feel the way that I do? How long have I been feeling this way? Did I get any hint that I was feeling this way? What do I need to change how I feel? When was the first time I felt this way? What triggered this feeling for me? What can I do to feel better? And how is this feeling that I'm having affecting my other relationships? Now, these are shadow work questions. These questions require strength. They require your ability to withstand whatever truth comes up, even if it's the kind of truth that smacks you in the face and makes you like want to go lay down because you can't believe what you just read and what you just heard. But typically, Scorpio's not interested in that kind of self-analysis, because here's the thing: if I can blame everybody else, guess what that means? If I can say the whole world is bad and people are just not good people and they take advantage of my love and my kindness and they use me and this and that and the other, then what does that mean? Ultimately, what's the outcome of that? If I can put it all on the world and take myself out of the equation, what happens? Denisha said, for someone who feels so strong and resilient, I don't understand this lack of trust in myself. Yes, and that is my fascination with Scorpio. Because it's almost like they don't know who they are, but they're supposed to be the ones who know themselves the best. Everybody else sees them as strong, but they're always trying to prove to others that they're strong. The person they need to be proving their strength to is actually themselves, and it's not where they think it is. They think it's about fighting battles, but it's really about fighting their own internal war with their self-esteem and self-worth and self-awareness. That's where the work is for Scorpio. Grateful said, I can be self-reflective, but my Aquarius moon helped me compartmentalize a lot. Oh, I like that. As an Aquarius rising, yeah, I get that. Yes, I can definitely put things in some boxes. Like, this goes there, that goes there, that goes there. We're good. Everything is clean now. Yeah, I get it, totally. I totally get it. A lot of times, this is another thing that I noticed with Scorpio is like, as an example, I'll take a relationship as an example because relationships is like where the worst characteristics come out, by the way. Scorpio, in case you didn't know, relationships is when your worst characteristics come out because relationships is when you have to deal with other people. And we all know how much you love that. And I chuckle at that because I'm a Capricorn stellium and I struggle with the same thing. So Scorpio, I'm not picking on you. These are things that I've had to learn myself. Hi, Sunrise Star. It's so nice to see you. I love seeing your image pop up because it's so bright. Grateful said, I would say things like, oh, I'll deal with that trauma next Monday when I have time. That's funny. I'm going to pencil that in for next week. I don't have time for this bullshit right now. Scorpio here with the Capricorn moon. Ah, you're my people. You're a Scorpio Sun, Mars, Mercury, Uranus, and North Node, and Sag Venus. Oh my goodness. What did your ancestors do? My God. Oh my God. And Leo moon? Wow. Well, you're my people. Okay? Because I'm a Capricorn stellium, so yeah. I get it. I know my ancestors. Yeah. It wasn't good stuff. Because, the thing about karma is that it doesn't just stop with you. Karma is in the blood. It follows your bloodline. That's why in astrology we believe your life is your karma. Your karma is your life. And part of your karma is determined for you by virtue of who your parents are. As an example, if you come from a family of people that have diabetes, the likelihood of you ending up with diabetes are fairly high. That's your karma. Now, did you do anything to get diabetes yourself? No. But if it's in your blood, you can end up with diabetes as a kid. Because diabetes is in your bloodline. Now, how do people get diabetes? Well, what we know is that it's behaviorally based a lot, with issues around food and diet and exercise and lifestyle. Well, if you come from a long line of people who don't take care of their lifestyle and their fitness and their health and their wellness, then you have to inherit some of that karma by virtue of you being a part of that bloodline. So this is why I like to harp on karma, because I don't think people understand how deeply entrenched the conversation is. It isn't just about, oh, I do good things, I get good things. No, it's that your whole essence is measured by your impact. And when that impact is more negative than positive, then yes, you will be faced with more negative experiences than positive. And some other people's ancestors have been working on themselves for a long time. So they worked on themselves and they're taught their kids to work on themselves and their kids started working on themselves and they're taught their grand. Do you see that? People have been working on themselves for thousands of years. And for some of us, we have ancestors who are just now waking up to the fact that that's something you can do. For some of us, we're the first person in our family to even acknowledge mental illness. I'm in that group. Before me, nobody in my family acknowledged mental illness. It took me becoming a therapist and having a sibling with severe mental illness for my parents to come to terms with that. But look at that. Someone else said me too. Well, meanwhile, there are other people whose family members have been going to therapy since they were 5 years old. Do you see what I'm saying? So back to Aquarius, right? The reason why Aquarius appears to be cold is because Aquarius knows that you can feel things deeply. It doesn't mean they're true. Just because I love you very deeply and I don't want to let you go and I don't want our relationship to end does not mean that you're good for me. Nor does it mean that I should stay with you. Nor does it mean that there's a good future for us. Nor does it mean that all right hasn't come to an end. I can love you very deeply and still release you in love. But that's something Scorpio doesn't want to grasp. They don't want to, because they want to do everything based on how they feel. They think if they feel something, then it has to be true. And if they feel that thing, then they have to go with it. And the thing about feelings is that feelings aren't thoughts. Feelings don't have checks and balances. Thoughts do. You're supposed to reason with yourself and analyze what you're thinking about to make sure that what you're thinking makes sense. But feelings can't do that for you. You can love someone and they'd be terrible for you. Well, you could stay there and say, I love them, but your mind knows they're not good for you. Then that's when Aquarius will vacate the premises. Right? Aquarius will be gone. The minute they realize that what you bring to the table is not useful, is not productive, is not healthy, is not good for them, they leave. Because they take their feelings out of the equation. Because they understand ultimately the head should make a decision that is good for the body. Because somebody that hurts your heart isn't good for you, even though you may love them. Just because you love someone doesn't mean they love you back. That's the thing that you don't, the water signs, they don't want to understand that. They don't want to They don't want to deal with that reality that they can love people who don't love them back. They don't want to accept that. Hi Lee. I was looking to see if you were still there so I could say hello. It's nice to see you. Yeah, Scorpio doesn't want to make changes. They don't want to move along. They don't want to switch lanes. They don't want to let things go. And what's insane about Scorpio is that the more powerful manifestors that are Scorpios, guess what their number one skill is? Anyone wants to guess? What's love got to do with it? Exactly. Because a love that leaves you broken and unhealthy and broke and mentally and emotionally ill and physically ill, is that a love that is good for your heart? Is it? But Scorpio doesn't want to let go because of control. In that situation, it's about control. They want to feel like they're pulling the strings, like they're manipulating something, like they're directing something, like they're controlling something, and they're not in control because there's literally only one God, and God did not hire them. They're just like the rest of us here, struggling, trying to figure things out. Lee said, no, it's exhausting. Exactly that part. But a Scorpio will much rather do what feels familiar, even if it's unhealthy and toxic. Even if it's toxic, they would rather stay with what they feel comfortable with because they have a high capacity for absorbing negativity. So it could be the most negative thing. They will stay and they will absorb all of it because to them, being able to withstand suffering is a badge of honor. And that's something that I want to break in every Scorpio that I meet. Because who told you that God brought you here to be the most suffered soul? Like, what is this about, this message? Miss Parker said, I think you asked me if I liked emotional chaos because I'm dating an Aries. Oh, yes, I did. Because that would be the only reason to do that. Sunrise, especially when you have Scorpio in your big three. The only reason, if you're a Scorpio, that you would date an Aries is if you like emotional chaos. Because Scorpio is already emotionally chaotic as a zodiac sign, even when they do nothing. So the last energy that should ever want to mix with outside of the bedroom should be Aries. Aries is only good for Scorpio in the bedroom. As soon as you leave the bedroom, those two should not even be having dinner together. There's way too much fighting here. There's way too much aggression and control and power and dominating. And love is not about dominating. Do you know that, Scorpio and Aries? Do you guys know that? Sometimes I feel like I'm like a broken record. Don't you guys know love is about giving? Do you guys know what giving is? Like, I hate to be this way, but sometimes I feel like some of us miss some things when we're little. Like, I feel like when we're playing, when we're two, maybe some of us miss something. Because real love is about giving. Like, I give because I want to. Because it makes me feel good. To see you happy, for you to feel good. That is why I give. That isn't about control. That isn't about warring. It's about giving and receiving. You know, you want to do love with people that give back to you. You give to them, they give to you. You give to them, they give to you. The vibe is good. But these two, Scorpio and Aries, because they're ruled by Mars, a planet of war, aggression, violence, dominating, what kind of peace do you expect in a relationship with an Aries when you're a Scorpio? You don't even have peace with yourself. Neither of you do. Neither of you understand what peace is. These two are not good at love because they think love is war and war is love and war is not love. Like, yes, there's a thin line between love and hate, but war and love are not the same thing at all. War is about dominating. Love is about submitting. Different energies. War is masculine. Love is feminine. Different energies. Let me see. Oh, you're Gemini Venus. That explains everything. Now I get it, Miss Parker. Yes, I get where you're coming from now. So Sunrise Star, I'm gonna read some of your comments. We just get into it. However, sorry, we want to disconnect. Denisha said, yes, I stayed and was in a toxic relationship for 20 years. It was a 20-year marriage because of this. Oh my goodness, that's a long time. You love an Aries man. Aries men are very lovable. And, you know, that's not to say I don't want Aries to have love or Scorpio to have love. All I'm saying is I want you to understand what energy you have that you bring and what energy will complement you based on what you bring. You know, if you are someone that has a lot of Mars in their chart, then another Mars energy is not going to complement you because to manifest, you need a mixture of masculine and feminine. People that are very good at manifesting are people that are energetically androgynous. And what I mean by that is people that know when to fight and people that know when to submit. People that cannot manifest deeply to get the nuances of that. But manifestation is about creation. You know, to make a baby, you need a masculine and a feminine. God is telling us all of these truths. Just look around nature. Masculine, feminine, you make a baby, right? Manifestation is like creation. You're creating. So to create, you need feminine and masculine energy to create. So aggression, war, masculine, Aries. Scorpio, when they're in their Mars energy, masculine, yeah. Is somebody that's already like this does not need somebody else that's like this. You're not creating anything. You're just destroying. You're destroying everything you touch. You need something softer. We need to merge. You see? Merge. You get it, right? Inside out. I don't need to spell it. I don't need to spell it out. You get it, right? So it starts with knowing who you are. A lot of people walking around, they don't even know who they are, and they say they're looking for love. Well, who are you? What kind of lover would be good for you? Well, you can't answer that second question until you know who you are. Who am I? What am I looking for? What do I need? What will complement me well? What will work well with my energy? These are questions that people hardly ever ask themselves. And we can't get to that until we know who we are. And we can't get to that until we love who we are, because part of the other issues that people are running away from themselves. They know who they are, but they want to pretend they're not who they are, and they're running away, and they lie, and they make up stories, and they pretend. And they think they can manifest with fake energy. That's not how it works. You've got to stay true. You've got to stay true. The Scorpio is one of the best signs of manifestation, is because Scorpio knows who they are when they're healthy, highly malleable. Here's the thing. This is the magic of Scorpio right here. I'm going to break it down for you. So back to the masculine and the feminine, you get it, right? Protruding, yeah, you get it, right? Okay, so Scorpio is ruled by Mars, which is masculine energy, aggression, right? Also ruled by Pluto, planet of transformation, right? Excellent manifestors. I talked about duality. Scorpio knows when to attack. And when they attack, they don't miss their mark because they're very patient and they know how to wait and see and strategize for the exact right time. And they know when it's the right time to strike, and they don't miss when they strike because you deserved it. And they've been watching you for a long time. And they knew exactly what you deserve, and they hate you exactly where it hurts because they've studied you. That is a Scorpion at their best. And the people that are perceptive, when they get around Scorpio's energy, they're a little intimidated because they know you can't really mess with that one because you're going to get it. They can feel it. And if they're perceptive, they're smart. They leave Scorpio alone. They're like, oh, I don't know what it is, but this one, I don't know what it is. They stay away, which is good for Scorpio. Scorpio prefers it. But then there are times when when they're a good manifestor, they can perceive that somebody else is stronger than them, because that's the other thing. Scorpio is very good at assessing who has the most power in any room. Pick a Scorpio, put them in any random room, and ask them who's the most powerful person in that room. They can tell you. They can tell you with very little data. Because Scorpio is obsessed with power, they always know who has it. So part of being a good manifestor is understanding when you need to submit. So in this case, you would assess, I want power. This person has the most. I'm going to go join forces with them, be their underling, so I can earn my way to whatever seat they're sitting at. But a Scorpio that is not good at manifestation, that is in their low vibration energy, when they see that person, they're immediately threatened. They're immediately wanting to war with this person, because how dare you have more power than me? Who are you that you should have more power than me? And then there start issues with that person, even though nothing has happened. But they're very skilled spiritually at sending negative energy to folks without folks realizing where it's coming from. And then they self-sabotage and they destroy everything, when really they could have just... And they could have been daredevils together, taking over the world. But their fear and their paranoia takes over them. So that's another pitfall for Scorpio. So not knowing when to disengage from the game, like Aquarius does, I don't waste time. No. What doesn't serve me, it goes fast. Because I know I can do it on my own. Life has already taught me that I can survive on my own because I've had very little support throughout my life. And look what I've made of it. So why am I going to let go of my desires to follow yours when I can figure my way out of this problem on my own? No, I'm not going to do that. I love myself too much to give my life up to you. I'm not doing it. So if it doesn't work for me, you got to go. The end. Simple as that. Now, does that mean that I'm not going to be patient with you if I love you? Absolutely. But the minute I am clear in my head psychologically as to the ways in which you hinder my growth, and I cannot see a future with you, then it's a done deal. I don't care if I knew you for 50 years or 100 years. The bottom line is you're not somebody that is going to promote my growth. And I'm here to grow and expand. That has nothing to do with feelings. These are the facts of the matter. But Scorpio doesn't want to deal with reality. Even though they're very astute at being in reality, because obviously when you're ruled by Mars, you have to have a good grasp on reality, because you can't go to war and not know what's going on. Like, warheads are smart people. They're people who can strategize. They're clear-minded. But a lot of Scorpios, instead of using that, they're given to substance abuse. A lot of them are addicted to all sorts of substances. running away from all of their true real feelings, sedating themselves so that they can avoid any feeling whatsoever, any reality whatsoever. And it's like they purposely avoid things that increasingly make them uncomfortable, but they're too afraid, honestly, to actually face the music of that loss and turn the page and move on to the next thing, the next activity, because God always has the next thing ready for them, but they don't trust that. So they hold on to garbage, even though the garbage is no longer what they want. And it breaks my heart to see it. I've seen it so much. This is a conversation you and your husband just had. Oh, yeah, those are hard conversations to have, but they're necessary because here's the thing. All of us are here on our own journey, okay? Everybody that you meet, whether that's your spouse, your child, your auntie, your grandmother, third grade teacher, that coworker, every human that you meet, God has brought to your life for a reason. Once that mission has been accomplished, it's time to move on. Nobody's supposed to stay here with you forever because you're on your own journey. And manifestation requires being able to analyze the energies around you and see which ones are conducive to your growth and which ones are not. And part of being an adult is going, yeah, I know mama won't let me have ice cream right now, but I know mama's right because mama knows more things than me. So, yes, I'm sad that I'm not going to have ice cream, but I move on. But Scorpio doesn't want to do that. They want to wait till mama goes to sleep and then they want to go in the fridge and have the ice cream. You know? A lot of life is about just that, letting go. And if you're a Scorpio Sun, Moon, or Rising, I promise you, the more you let go, the more success you have. Because you more than anyone always knows when it's time to let go. Grateful said, I often feel like I can just will things and that makes things difficult to let go. Yes, that's your superpower. Every Scorpio can will anything into a reality. And that's why I just posted the video about times when they will negative things. Because the thing about Scorpio is they're so energetically powerful, but many of them don't even know. And some of them that are not in tune, they keep manifesting the things they don't want. Thank you so much, Halisha, for my gift. I appreciate it. Scorpio will literally sit there and manifest something they don't want. They will literally sit there and just think about what they don't want. Like, my boss hates me. One day they're just gonna get tired of me and fire me. One day they're just gonna get tired of me and fire me. My boss hates me because I call her out on her stuff. And then like Scorpio gets fired and then they have the nerve to be sad about it. I'm like, girl, isn't that what we're working on? Isn't that what we're manifesting? Because that's literally all you've been talking about the last 3 years. How this boss hates you and they're gonna fire you. So now that they fired you, like, shouldn't you be relieved? Shouldn't you be happy? Isn't this what you wanted? And here's the thing, furthermore, if you felt some type of way about your boss hating you, why aren't you at another job? Huh? Because you knew this person didn't like you, right? So you knew it was not a safe environment. So why haven't you been looking for another job? Why are you still at that same job with that boss that hates you, that you're afraid is going to fire you one day? This is exactly what I'm talking about. You guys get the tip from the universe, you get the message from your gut, but you don't want to follow it. And then when things happen outside of your control because you don't want to follow it, because God is so gracious that we get warnings before things happen. Usually when the rug is pulled from underneath you, Scorpio, especially when you don't see it coming, is because you did it to yourself. And y'all can be mad at me all you want, but I'm going to die on this hill. Because more than anybody, you know what's up. You know what's going on. You know when people like you know when people fake like you. You know when people really like you. If you're at a job where you don't feel safe because of a boss that hates you, then you know if that boss had an opportunity to fire somebody, you will be on the chopping block because they don't like you. And you probably don't like them either. So why are you sitting here waiting for it to happen to you when you could take that information and go find another job where you are appreciated? Can you guys explain that to me, those of you that are Scorpios that are on this line? Because the example that I have is precisely this. I remember this person at this client that I had that was at this job, and she thought her boss hated her. They had like this kind of power dynamic going on between them when there was tension between them or whatnot. And then like one day she decided she was going to go behind her boss's back and go to her peers and the people that are over her boss to talk about how terrible her boss is so that she could basically get people together to fire her boss behind her back. And naturally, because her boss's boss has been friend with her boss for over 20 years that her boss has been there, she told her what was going on. And how do you think that affected her relationship with the boss now that the boss knows that she was trying to do the smear campaign to try to get her fired? Do you see what I'm saying? It's like Scorpio brings mess. They bring mess, but they don't want to own it. It's like you knew this person and like you could have found another job, right? And if you're trying to get this person fired and you know who the power players in the room are, why would you think that the friend that they've had for 20 years will be an ally to you and not them? Like, what kind of sense does that make? And now, if this person boss fires you, you're gonna sue her for retaliation, or you could have just gone on and found another job and lived a happy life. But you don't want a happy life. You want a struggle life. You want to be fighting and arguing with people all day long. So that's what you're doing. And then you're destroying your reputation in the process because now people know you can't be trusted. Because who goes behind the person, the back of the person that signs their check to try to get them fired? Who does that? A good person? I think not. Because the person that feeds you, if you have a problem with them, that's who you should be talking to because they feed you, right? You owe them some sort of loyalty because they feed you. Now, if they're doing something wrong to you, you should still address it with them and then take it to the appropriate channels. Every job has avenues for that sort of thing. But it's like Scorpio will doesn't know when to turn down a fight. I guess that's really what it comes down to. Like, do you know when a fight is not worth it? Like, do you know? Do you know when you should pass up on the fight? Are you aware? Can you guys tell me, those of you that are Scorpio on the line? Do you know? Are you able to assess when something is worth your energy and not worth your energy? So you are able to sense that. Okay, everyone is saying yes, yes. I choose my battles wisely. Okay, so then how do these things happen? Specifically with Scorpio women, I see that a lot in their relationships. Like, they will get the sense that the person they're with is not faithful and is not telling the truth, but they will stay and fight with that person as opposed to just getting another one. Like, what's that about then? Tanisha said, I will see that it's not worth it, but I go to war anyways. So, what is that about? Can y'all tell me? And I'm not asking from a place of judgment because I have a long laundry list of stupid things I've done in my life. I'm just trying to understand what's going on in your psyche when you assess that it's not worth it. Like, this person is not good for you and this person is not who you thought they were. Like, why do you stay to fight as opposed to just finding your next happiness? Okay, Sunrise Star said ego. Tanisha said it depends on how much it means to me. So if it's somebody that you really, really like, then you would stay and fight, even though it's not somebody you want to stay with. Rochelle said, I think it's just being comfortable, comfortability. Sunrise Star said it's about winning. Tanisha said, I won't fight for a person that won't fight for me. That doesn't want me, rather. Sunrise said, we like to win. See, we're getting closer. We like to win. Lenning said, I stay because I'm just being strategic. Grateful said, I drop people easily, so I can't speak to that. Miss Parker said, as a Scorpio moon, I feel more attached and I can't see past how much I love them. Okay, so it's a mixture, it's a mixed bag. So some people love winning, some people are egoic, ego driven. Some people feel like they're too lost in their love and they can't let it go. They just don't want to release the love because they're too wrapped up in it. And obviously, some Scorpios don't struggle with that at all, which the evolved Scorpios shouldn't, because that is your protection. That is your spiritual protection, is that you know things before other people know it. That's your protection. So not using it to your advantage, would seem like a waste. Grateful said, I struggle more with cutting people off in business than in personal relationships. Yes, I can understand that. Yeah, it's hard, especially for women who have been raised to, acquiesce and go along and play nice and not say no. A lot of us have been raised that way. So I can see how it shows up in our relationship, especially those of you that are dating men, because a lot of you think men are like women. Like, if I give to him, he's going to give back to me. And a lot of men are not hardwired that way. They're raised to take, they're not raised to give. So when you go in there and you give, 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 give to somebody that's raised to take, 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 what do you think is going to happen? You're going to end up high and dry, and they're going to deplete you because that's what they're made to do. But you always know when somebody's not good for you. And that's a part about it that's very hard for me as an astrologer, because I'm like, you could tell me how this play is going to go. They're going to do this, they're going to do that, you're going to do that. Like, you could spell it out, but you still stay, and I don't know why. Albaneri said, I wonder the Scorpio with other energies in their chart. When I struggle to cut people off in business tie, it's more so about strategy and fear. I see. I'm a Scorpio rising and definitely have seen my controlling tendencies over the years. In relationships, I will let them go and I will obsess afterwards. Someone said it's a control thing. In the end, we live to be in control. I see. It's about control. It's about winning, and it's about control. I get it. I get it. It's definitely about the control, is what someone else added. Denisha added. Exactly. I'm tired of giving. I want to be equal. Yes, I am off that boat. I was on that boat for many years. No more. I feel too attached to my investment. Oh, only has one Scorpio sun, but as a Cancer sun, letting go is hard. So for you, it's also about what you've invested. It's about the investment. So it feels like a loss that you don't want to take. You don't want to accept the loss. You don't want to release and accept that you've lost something. I get it. I can love you but drop you. We have to be on top. Ah, it's about being on top. It's about winning. It's about ego. Even if we're at the bottom, we'll be in the top in some sense. That is deep. Sunrise star, that is deep. So even if you're at the bottom, you want to feel like you won somewhere. So even if it means destroying yourself in the process, you got what you wanted. Janae said, I think it's also controlling the perception people have of them. Yes, I would agree with that. Denisha said, I want to be the one to let a situation go, not them. So it's about being the one to say it's over, not feeling like they're the ones telling you it's over. Sunrise said, it's a game to us too. Yes. And Miss Parker added, yes, the loss. I feel my Scorpio moon flares when you want to take from me and not be loyal. So it's mainly about not wanting to let go because it feels like a loss. And that's painful. Lador, thank you for my rose. I appreciate it. So I will be patient until I have the power. Oh, I see. So it's all about power and control and dominance and winning. You have a Cancer moon and Aquarius sun, and you told him that you stayed just for the dogs. See what I mean? This is such a Scorpio thing. You're literally going to look at this person that at some point you claim to love and tell them you're staying just for the dogs when you could literally not be there. Because obviously they don't want to hear that. They don't want to hear that you're only here for the dogs. So if you say that to them, then you know it's going to cause them to feel something not positive, right? When you could literally just take the dogs and find another home. Miss Parker said, yes, it feels like a death, like a mourning. I would never date another Scorpio sun. I see. So basically, Scorpios don't evolve because Scorpios don't want to die, is what I'm hearing. That's what it sounds like to me. I just told my ex-husband that I was only still there because of our kids. So all Scorpios roll the same way, is what it sounds like. When they're tired of you, they want you to know. And then want to spell it out as to why they're really there, because it's not about you in case you got it twisted. Oh my God, this is too funny. Y'all are hilarious to me. Because me as a Sagittarius, I don't even have time to have that conversation with you. You're going to come home and you're going to find a note. I don't have time because you know what I'm not going to do is waste my time going back and forth with you. For what? Because I've already assessed that you're not an asset. At this point, that means you're a liability. And I don't need any more liabilities. Life is a liability. So, no, you will be eliminated. I will leave you a note. I'll send you an email. I'll send you a text. I mean, it's done. Let's move on. But no, I'm not gonna make myself miserable to make a point. About what? For what? And what do I get out of it besides heartache and stress? Miss Parker said, I kept the pets too, but I'm disgusted with her. Who's her? Oh, that's your partner? Oh, I thought you had a husband for some reason. I'm never staying in something I don't want to be in. Yeah, you shouldn't. But I think that's what we learned, right? What we learned is that Scorpio will self destruct so they can feel like they wanted something, so they can cause someone else to feel pain. So they will hurt themselves so they can cause someone else to feel pain. So to them, causing someone else to feel pain is worth them hurting themselves. And unfortunately, sometimes that plan that they have to cause that person to feel pain can keep them trapped in a reality where they're no longer evolving and getting closer to their goals. But in that moment, all that matters is that their ego feels stroked and that they feel like they got their lick back. At least that's what I've gathered. Did I miss anything? Denisha said you're spot on. Janae said agreed. Then they become the victim in the narrative they tell. Oh my God, yes. Scorpio loves playing the victim. Loves it. Loves it, loves it. You know what? It's not just Scorpio. All the water signs, Pisces, Scorpio, and Cancer, nobody plays a victim better than a water sign. Nobody. Nobody. Because accountability cannot find her. Right along with Virgo, cannot find accountability anywhere in the dictionary. What did I do that got me feeling stuck in life? What did I do that made me miserable? They're not doing that. They want to talk about what they did. What they did. Yeah, water sign babies? No. There's no room in there for logic. And that's the problem. That's exactly what the problem is that Aquarius is trying to help Scorpio with. Aquarius is not saying deny your feelings. Aquarius is very sensitive. In fact, they are, the humanitarian of the zodiac. So Aquarius cares very, very much about people hurting. Their heart is very tender. However, they don't forget that they have a brain. They don't forget that they have a brain. So in every situation that you have going on, it's got to come back to common sense and logic. So, yes, I could stay here to make you feel my pain, but then my life is not progressing for 5, 10 years and I'm miserable. Or I could accept that this ride is over and it's time to get on to my next ride, even though I don't know what's over there and it's scary. But I know it's got to be better than this because this is pretty bad, which is why I don't want to be here. And even if it's the same, it's worth the adventure because I get to discover something new. To me, logically, I can never rationalize how sacrificing myself and my happiness is worth making somebody feel my pain. Like I can never, because to me, that's losing twice. Because number one, like let's say it's a relationship. Number one, I thought you were going to be a good mate for me, relationship wise, right? I thought we are going to be a great match, but it didn't work out. There's some tough lessons I had to learn about that. And now I'm hurt that it didn't work out because whatever I imagined for us is not what's going to happen, right? So I'm hurt by that. And now I'm also hurt. Now you're asking me to be even more hurt by staying here just so I can make you feel hurt because I'm hurt. Me watching you be hurt doesn't bring me as much joy as me generally being happy would bring me. Or does it for Scorpio? Does it bring you joy to see them hurt? Does it bring you as much joy as being happy would have? Because for me as a Sag, my happiness is like number one. So if it doesn't make me happy, it's not for me. If it doesn't make me feel good, it's not for me. If it doesn't make me feel joyful and alive and curious about the world and excited to be alive, it's not for me. I'm just not interested. So at the end of the day, I'm going to pick my happiness over any kind of BS that will distract me from my happiness. So me hurting you or wanting to hurt you should feel better than me being generally happy. And in most cases, I have not found that revenge is as tasty as people like to make it seem like it is. Because after you've gotten it, you realize you're right. You're still right there. Like nothing in your life has gotten better. You haven't progressed. Nothing has changed. You're still there. But now you've gotten them to see your side. But your life is still crummy. I don't know. You guys tell me. Let me read some of the comments in the meantime. Okay, when not evolved, I'm a Pisces that does the work and takes accountability very easily. Liberating. Oh, I love that for you. Someone said yes, Virgo man. Yes. Pisces, I'm very accountable. In fact, too much. I stopped playing victim when I did my self work. Good for you. Pisces too. I don't think I'm playing victim, but I feel I need to assume my stupidity. Oh my God, Lenny, that's exactly the point. I think like this is very common for Virgo, but it shows up a little bit for Scorpio too. It's like Virgo doesn't want to admit when they're wrong. Most of the time, Virgo is right. Most of the time. However, there are times when Virgo is wrong. And the times when Virgo is wrong, Virgo never wants to admit that they were wrong. So this is why Virgos stay in bad relationships, by the way, is because they refuse to admit that they made a mistake when they decided to date that person, move in with that person, get engaged to that person, marry that person. They refuse to like look at it objectively and say, yes, I like this person, but after getting to know them for X amount of time, I realized that we're not a good fit for all of these reasons. And Virgo is very analytical, highly intelligent, because their brain is like a computer. They can list it all, but they don't want to tell the truth to themselves about the fact that they made an emotional decision, because that's what it is. They made an emotional decision that has proven to be intellectually not wise. They don't want to admit that because it messes with their sense of self because they see themselves as highly intelligent. So having to admit that they made a mistake in their decision making reflects really poorly on them, and they take that to heart. So they will stay in an unhappy marriage forever for that reason, just so they don't have to face the music. Miss Parker said, my mom is an Aquarius and she's been the most hurtful person I've ever known. I'm so sorry you had a terrible mom because Aquarius is supposed to be very, very loving. Unless you aren't, then they're very icy. Hi, fellow water signs. I don't relate to I don't relate to that. I want it to work. I don't want to give up on that person or that love. Denisha said, I'm self aware, so I know that I have a lot of work to do. I've come so far these last few years. Very good for you. Keep it going. We are all a work in progress. None of us ever arrive. None of us ever do. We just keep moving forward. Keep moving forward. That's all you can do. We can't bring back time, so we don't cry over spilled milk. But what we do, though, is look back at that spilled milk and learn our lessons so that we can implement them next time in a different situation. And back to the energy of Pluto, the transformative nature of Pluto, this is where Scorpios lose their manifestation power because by refusing to let go and to allow things to die and to disengage and to release, what happens is that they end up inviting more of the things they don't want and more of the things they don't need because now they've like talked themselves out of being somebody that's very skilled at recognizing energy that isn't pure and kicking it out because that's your gift. That's actually a spiritual gift. That's what makes you very powerful manifestation is that a lot of people who are good at faking and playing along and manipulating people, you can just stare, look at them like this, and you get the whole story. They don't have to speak to you for you to know what they're hiding, to read their intentions. That's your superpower. That's why you're so good at manifestation. But when a Scorpio talks themselves out of recognizing those moments and doing something with those moments, it creates a culture of tolerance for energy that is not productive. So then naturally they end up manifesting more of this energy in their lives. And it creates a cycle of victimhood that's really wrapped up under this like lack of desire to take control of their lives and to own their mistakes and to take charge of their decisions and to, be forceful and bold and brave and fearless in like their desires and to go for the things they want and to be willing to risk it all to get to it. They lose that killer energy that they were hardwired for with Mars as their ruler. And that's how we end up here in this kind of self-loathing, self-hatred, not happy with life, don't feel confident enough to take risk and do the things they want to do because it's been years of rewiring their natural programming. Lenny said, I'd never want to hurt my partner. I wish he does well so he won't be needing me anymore, especially for money. Let me read some of the other comments. I think we still feel we want them. It's not revenge for me. Sunrise Star said, I generally know when I can hurt someone, but I consistently choose not to. Lador said, do both, stay and thrive. That's the ultimate. Z said, my mom, but she's working on it. Bless her. Virgos also seem to have this sort of God complex. Yes, highly intelligent. Yes. Sunrise Star said, I chose not to. I give grace and own my own integrity. Grateful said, Aquarius can be emotionally detached, and that can be hard for a water sign. Denisha said, keep moving forward. Wish Scorpios want to hold on to the past with a death grip. Yes. I'm Aquarius sun, Cancer moon, and Scorpio moon. Very conflicted. I can see that. So it's my Cancer sun or Gemini Venus that feels so good with the Aries. It's definitely the Gemini Venus. Lenny said, it's like you care so much and not at all. Yes, I care too much until I'm fed up and I don't care anymore. I do that. Look into eyes and get a whole story. I'm just a Scorpio moon. Denisha's after therapy. No way I'm holding on to the past. I don't quite connect with my Aquarius sister. I catch myself when I'm in negative thoughts. And Denisha said therapy has been a lifesaver with that issue. Therapy has done wonders for me. I'm a therapist that actively promotes therapy, and I think every good therapist should have a therapist. Therapy will change your life because a lot of these patterns are learned behaviors from families of origin, relationships that you saw growing up, and people often repeat what they've seen done, even though there's no logic to it. So what Aquarius is calling humans to is this need to actually investigate what's happening here when they're making decisions so that they can make sure that what's happening here is congruent with what's happening here. Because if the decisions you're making here hurt this, then your energy is not balanced. Because a healthy person doesn't do things that hurt them. A healthy person doesn't do things to self sabotage, to ruin their chances at the things they want. That's not an indication of a healthy mind. And it starts with the mind, right? Healthy mind, healthy body. So Aquarius is asking us to not dismiss our emotions, but to not neglect our thinking, because you can love somebody whose behaviors show you that they don't love you back and they don't love you back the same way. And yes, it hurts. And yes, it's embarrassing. But all of us have to deal with embarrassment. That's part of being a human. Kids have to deal with it too. Kids have to deal with hurt feelings. Hey, do you want to play with me? No, I don't want to play with you. Get away from me. Like these are natural human emotions that all of us have gone through since we're little. So this is just my gentle reminder from Aquarius to Scorpio. The faster you can let go, the faster you will get at manifesting your desires. Because your challenge in this life is not so much about you holding on, unless it as it is about you giving up. Now there are times when it's about holding on, But in those cases, there should be no conflict in the energy. And you can recognize the difference based on the intention behind it. Like if you know the intention of staying there is to have the last word, or if it's to hurt them back, or if it's driven by some sort of like negative emotion, which is all about ego and wanting to feel powerful, then you know the intention is not good. So when we put negative intentions behind good actions, what do you think we get? We don't get good results. Even if in the moment it feels good, but you're always going to pay for it, because that's what karma is. Karma means whatever we do is ours, no matter if it's been 30 years or a million years. That's why karma gets passed down through generations, because there's no time limit on karma. You can always get it. You and your descendants can get it. You and your grandparents can get it. It doesn't end, because God is eternal. We all just keep going around in circles. So yes, if the intention behind that action is not good, you should expect some bad karma. So basically you're paying your way into bad karma that's ruining your life now, and that will ruin your life later, when you could choose another intention, which is to course correct, because obviously whatever is going on here has derailed. So we're going to make some new decisions that enhance our self-worth, that make us feel powerful, that make us feel in control of our lives. And we're going to go fearlessly towards our goals, recognizing that these were lessons we needed to learn about ourselves. And we're going to take those lessons and move forward so we don't make the same mistakes again later. That's another path this can go. Okay? I go with the vibe. If it feels good, I'll do it. If it doesn't, I don't. I'm not someone who tries to force anything. I'm not into forcing energy. I don't force love. I don't force friendships. I don't force work. I don't force. What is meant to be will be. That's what I believe, because I believe in God, and I believe everybody has a purpose, and I believe God is in control, the master creator. So God knows all the dimensions, all the codes, all the distance, all the time. Who am I to try to imprint my opinions, my version onto the real story? I just let God do whatever God does, and I just vibe. When I get the message, I move. And I think that's why I have been blessed with such good manifestation skills, is because I listen. A lot of people don't listen. They pick their comfort over what spirit is telling them to do. Their intuition is telling them, yeah, I know you like this person, but I'm not getting a good vibe, because, God's spirit, they hear the things you don't hear. They know the things you don't know. Your spirit team, they know stuff you don't know. And they come to you and they drop that in your intuition like, hey, nudge, nudge, here it is. And some of you guys, you like to fight with them. Some of you guys like to throw blows with your spirit team. You're like, I'm not doing that. I like this person. I don't want to let this person go. What? Why do you want me to let him go? No. And me, I'm like, here's your discharge paperwork. It has been a beautiful, lovely time together. I love you to death. Our journey has come to an end, and I wish you the best. Just like that. We wrap it up. I don't argue. I just go with the flow, and I get very little resistance. And when there's resistance, it's because I'm resistant. It's not because God is resistant, because everybody's here to be great. I 100% believe that. So all the things that you need to achieve greatness according to what you were coded for are given to you at birth. I wholeheartedly believe that. So what do I look like arguing with God when I don't even know the whole story? So I don't engage with that kind of energy. Ashley's asking, are you an Aquarius? Because I too am also big on not arguing. Just moving on. Ashley, how very perceptive of you. But no, I am not an Aquarius sun. However, I am an Aquarius rising, so I wear the Aquarian ideals on my sleeves, like me getting kicked out of my parents' church for being gay. That's very Aquarius. I don't argue. I don't force. I move on. Aquarian energy is very old energetically. It's the second oldest soul out of all the souls on Earth. And that's part of why Aquarius is also very rare. Aquarius doesn't see the value in engaging in activities that are not productive. So in other words, before I choose to engage in something, I need a vision for what I am hoping to get out of that engagement, out of that thing. Like, what is my purpose in this? Like, Aquarius is very big on purpose and meaning, and just having a soul-like experience with life. It's not enough to just go through the motions. You have to feel things. And thanks for all the likes, guys. If you wouldn't mind continuing to tap on the screen, I would really appreciate it. Oh, hi, it's Rose. Thank you for my gift. Thank you so much. So sweet. So yeah, Aquarius is too old to fight with everybody. That's number one. Aquarius is too abstract to get interested in non-tangible matters that are unproductive. That's number two. And Aquarius is also too much of a visionary to misjudge people's value, purpose, and intention in their lives. All relationships are temporary. That's what Aquarius knows. A lot of people don't like to accept this basic truth of life, and that's why they suffer. They suffer in their relationships because they want everything to be permanent, but nothing is permanent. Not a single thing. Are you the same age you were when you were born? Are your parents the same people they were when you were a kid? If you're married, is your spouse the same person that you married? If you went to school, are you still in kindergarten? Do you still wear the same shoe size you were wearing when you were born? No, right? Because nothing ever stays the same. And God is literally always trying to teach us that with the rising of the sun and the setting of the sun every day. Every day that you see the sun rise, you should know that with each day, The sun rises and the sun sets, meaning that people are born and people die. You go through transitions in life. Things change all the time. That's the purpose of life. Thanks for hanging out with me. All right, guys, have a good rest of your day. Bye-bye. Au revoir. Bisous. Au revoir. Bye-bye. Thank you, and thanks for all my gifts.
You can book your astrology reading at intuitivehealing.com. You can also watch videos at Intuitive Healing here on YouTube for Astrology 101 content. Listen to the Aquarius podcast on Spotify, as well as here on YouTube for your horoscope. If you're interested in astrology and love connections, you can visit at Styled Under Libra. And of course, for health and wellness and holistic healing, visit at Styled Under Virgo for all of your astrology content. Thanks so much for watching.